Hi and welcome. I'm Laura from Expat Planet, living my Slovak soul in the vibrant landscapes of Spain. I'm joined by Tati Paez today, who is an expat advisor and consultant. Originally coming from Brazil, Tachi embarked on her expat journey 27 years ago. So she has a lot of experience. Together with a robust background in human resources leadership and with all the challenging situations and experiences she had to go through when relocating from Sao Paulo to Paris in 2020 with two toddlers, Tachi decided to establish her own consultancy where she aims at supporting expats on their global journeys. Now based in sunny Barcelona, Tachi is specializing in guiding expats through smoother relocation. Welcome, Tachi.
Thank you, Laura, for having me.
So today we are going to talk about secrets of expat life. If you like our conversation, please hit the subscribe button and support us. So, what are the secrets of successful expat life?
Well, that's a great question. The first question is, what is expat success to you? Because it obviously is different for every expat and for every expat family. The first number that I think is important to bring here is that 40% of expats fail. And here, when I talk about failing, I mean not meeting the expectations of this expatriation, many times returning home early, which is very common. But what is behind this number? Why so many expats fail? Because 70% is due to the family not adapting. And when we look at all expats, we can also say that 90% have mental health issues. So these are big numbers. And
Mental
I think
health issues before they
when
moved.
after they move, yes,
After they
90%
moved, they
90% of
developed mental
yes
issues.
express yes 90% are stressed,
Hmm.
many are burned out, many
Yeah.
are depressed.
Oh, I can relate
So
so much.
yes, so these are big numbers that usually are not talked about, but working with expats and being in the middle of expat communities, we can many times see all this happening in the backstage. And what I like to say, it's not what's shown on Instagram, because expat
Yeah, of
life on
course.
Instagram is beautiful, but
But
then
we know
what's
that
behind
all of
it?
us have experiences like this. It's not
Yes,
shown, but it's there.
yes, exactly. So the first question is, what is expat success for you? And what really, from my experience, leads to failure is the lack of preparation, lack of awareness, and preparing for this period, and especially having guidance to during your move abroad makes a big difference and really helps you reach the success that you expect.
This is really interesting. And how can you help families with these issues? How do you guide them?
Well, I have my own methodology that I developed. It's called Roots of Life, and it's based off the Wheel of Life concept, which is the different pillars of your life and how do you reach a balance between them. So, to guide my clients through a successful experience abroad, we work through these different pillars. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how
Hmm.
each one of them like works. Just go through an overview. And usually, what I do through my advising and orientation programs is that I have the family go through all of these pillars. I have an assessment and I evaluate how they are in each one of them. So in some we might focus a bit less, in some we might focus a little bit more, but it's all personalized. It's like mentoring sessions. So I work with them through all of them, sometimes a bit like in different proportions according to their needs. Okay, so how do these programs work? How does it all happen? The first thing is that families, when they move, they fail to look at the whole picture. Why? Because they're focused on the tasks that they have to do. So how do these advising programs work? I take the families out of their out of the forest, because families are usually looking at the tree, and I take them
Mm-hmm.
out so they look at the whole forest. And why are families only looking at the trees? Because they have usually a very short timeline to accomplish their move. Usually families find out they're moving max 3 months before. It's very rare that a family knows with more time that they're moving.
Wow.
On our last move, we knew less than a month before that we were moving. So usually families have very short time, and they have very important tasks that they have to accomplish before moving, such as documentation, finding a school, finding a house, getting their health insurance. So they're focused on, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I don't have so much time, and they're obviously just gonna do what needs to get done. But the success is related to a bigger picture. It's the whole life. It's not just these tasks. So what I do through this my advising programs is really take families out so that they can look at their whole lives. And then when they have an understanding of the whole pillars, then they're able to act and really work towards their success. So just going through briefly each one of these pillars so that we understand the concept, because they're all related to reaching that success. Success means a positive and fulfilling life. This is when, in my opinion, you reach
Yeah, I
success
agree. That's the same for
as an
me.
expat. Obviously,
Mm.
there are many components that go into this, but when you reach a balanced, positive, and fulfilling life, that's when you reach success. And this is what the program does. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you might have a different definition of success, and we work towards that, but the program aims to reach this. So the first topic that we cover, the first pillar, is the goal, which is knowing the reason for your move. And as I always say, when we move, we face many different challenges. And the first challenge that we face, what do we question ourselves? Why did I move? I should have stayed home. Had everything. My life was running, like everything was ready. Like I had a job, my kids were adapted at school, I had my family, I had support, I had everything. Everything was like
It's
on
just like
automatic.
stepping out of the comfort zone
Completely. It's
completely with
starting your
everything.
life from
Yeah.
scratch. And then you're like, wait, why did I do this? When the first challenge you encounter, you ask this question. Because when you move, you're not thinking about all the challenges. You think you might know what they are, but there are many more. And then when you realize that maybe it's not that easy,
Mm.
so having a goal is the first thing that we work on, because that's what's really going to keep you strong and is what's going to keep you moving. So knowing what your goals are, what your priorities, your non-negotiable values, because these will come into play every day. Every decision you make, you will take them into consideration. So this is the main, like this is the basis of the work that I do in my programs. And then the second one is finance. And as much as we don't really go into numbers, we go more into the conceptual idea of finance and how your financials impact all the decisions that you make. So it's very common that expat families, when they move, they go from a double income to a single income. Even if that's for a short period of time, it's very difficult for a couple to move from one city to another and both of them keep their jobs. Many times they can negotiate to work part time, or many times one of them has to leave their job and look for a job somewhere else. So this is the first financial impact that the family faces, and this leads to other challenges, such as how the family dynamic changes. One becomes financially dependent on the other, and but that's another theme.
Yeah.
So about finance, the choices that you make regarding where you send your kids to school, what apartment you will get. Maybe you have to put more budget on one side, less budget on the other side. Remembering that you also want to have money to enjoy the time that you're abroad. Travel, go to all the events that you would like to go to, and really take advantage of this opportunity. And other things related to finance, obviously investing, obviously your retirement, and then you're in one country and then you move to another. So all the different things that you have to take into consideration. For example, I assisted a family that moved, and they weren't taking into consideration all the impact of the tax system in the country that they
Hmm.
were moving to. So there are a lot of implications regarding finance that sometimes families don't look at, and that this will impact their well-being abroad.
You said that you work with expats on a global basis. So
Yes.
when someone moves to a country, and obviously you can't know all these tax laws in every country, so
Uh-huh.
you have to make a research.
I have a broader idea, but I work with specialists certain subjects. So depending on the need of that family, I might refer them to a specialist. But I refer to, within my network of contacts, to the right to the right specialists. But there are things that I bring up that families hadn't even thought about, because obviously they're focused
Of
on
course,
all they have to do in such a short
of
period of
course.
time. Yeah.
Mm.
So the next pillar that we work on is family. And this is really about preparing the family for the move, adaptation, and everything that's related to the well-being of the family. And this is usually the family that moves with, so like your kids, and the family that stays behind, because that's these connections, they also play an important role. Like how to raise your kids away from their family back home, how to keep your how to pass on your culture to your kids, how do you stay connected with other people from your
Mm.
country within the city that you're living in. All these little things that little or big things that we face as parents. Like what language to speak with my kids, how does this happen. And really, as I mentioned, the success is related to the preparation and to the awareness. And here I bring a lot of subjects that many times families don't take into consideration. For example, the language. And I can give my personal example from when I lived in Singapore and I was a child. And I remember that my parents, we were learning English at the time, and many times I would speak English with my brothers at home, and my parents were always very strict, saying that in our house we spoke Portuguese. That
Hmm.
was very like strict, and I'm very thankful for this, because I might only be fluent today in Portuguese because of this, because I have seen so many families that they're not so strict with their kids. And now I have many Brazilian friends that absolutely don't speak any Portuguese, and they haven't been back to Brazil in maybe over 15 years, because once you lose the language, you really lose your contact and your all the roots that you have with your
Of
country.
course,
And
this is like a huge topic.
mhm,
Keeping the language, because children can lose the language. Then when you move with small kids, for them it can be quite difficult, because for example in kindergarten or at
mhm,
school they have one language, then the parents they want to maintain the
mhm,
language they had
mhm,
before.
mhm. And what I've realized is that for most families, um, it's not a conscious choice, or they don't realize that if they're not strict with their kids, they will lose the language.
Yeah.
It's common that families, when one of the parents don't speak the local language, they're like, "Oh, I will practice with my kids." Like they will. It's better that they speak English at home, because then I get to practice my English. But then it's not conscious. They don't realize that their kids will lose their language if they don't
Yeah.
insist in them speaking.
Here, from my own experience, we talk to our son me and my husband in Slovak, but he's losing. Like, I don't say that. I don't want to say that he like can't speak Slovak, but
Uh-huh.
he's inventing words because he forgot words.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's very common. Very common. My kids
Yeah.
also.
But my
They
son
speak,
was
yeah.
10, so I didn't expect this to be that
Uh-huh.
huge. But at school, he speaks English and Spanish. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's happening.
Yeah. When I moved, I was 12, and I really started speaking like Portuguese and English together with my Brazilian friends, like a lot. And then I like, but every time I was home, my mom would be like, no, 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 Portuguese, Portuguese, Portuguese. And then when I moved back to Brazil, and I was working, it was difficult for me to write in Portuguese because I had
Hmm.
developed my vocabulary
Yeah.
in English, and there were many things that I had difficulties with. But the fact that I had always spoken Portuguese, I was still fluent. You know, I had my
Yeah.
difficulties, but I was still fluent. If I hadn't spoken, then I would have probably not never gotten that job because I wouldn't be able to, you know,
Of
to
course.
communicate with my colleagues. And but it's difficult, and I see my kids speaking at home, and I'm always saying Portuguese, 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 because I am aware that if I don't do this, they will lose it.
Of
And some
course.
families, they might, you know, decide that no, we are here, we want them to only speak Spanish, and that's fine. Again, success is different for for each
Yeah.
family, priorities, values, and it's not my job to judge what's right and what's wrong, because I don't think there's right or wrong. It's what's right and wrong for you,
Yeah.
for your family. But having this awareness is important, and then you
Of
make the
course.
decision. You know, I bring you the topic, and you decide what's best for your family.
Yeah. Regarding the language, it's not like riding a bike because you
Hmm.
don't
You
forget riding the
forget.
bike,
You
but
forget.
it really easily disappears, the
Yes.
language. So
Yes. Our
it's like
son,
that.
we lived in France for 1 year. He was 3. So he learned some French, and then we moved to Spain, and he lost it. And it's sad. It's very sad because it's a language that he could maybe speak,
Yeah.
but we had to prioritize because he was already speaking Portuguese at home, English at school, and Spanish on the streets. So he was, when we moved here, he was 4. So we, you know, it's part of the trade-offs that you have. And I
Yeah.
hope that in the future, that when if he chooses to learn, that it's easier for him because he's spoken it once in his life. But yes, also it's part of the choices that you have to make. So this is just a few of the subjects that we go through when we talk about the family pillar, and then the next one is the partner. As I mentioned, there are some. It's very common that we change the dynamic within the family when we move, and the role of each one of the parents,
Mm-hmm.
because many times that one of them goes working, or one of the parents is transferred through their job, so they have a lot of pressure. Most have an expat package, which costs a lot to the company, so expectations are very high, and
Mm-hmm.
this puts on a lot of not only pressure, but demands a lot from one of the parents
Mm-hmm.
related to work. So they're very focused on work. And then the other parent has to be the one that's responsible for the move, for the family's adaptation, and everything related to the home. So when you're in your country and you both usually have your jobs and you have a more balanced partnership, let's say, related
Mm-hmm.
to work and related to the home, when you move, this goes out of balance. It's very I can say it's very rare that you keep the same balance when you move abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding this is very important. The alignment between both is very important. So before you move, if you know this is gonna happen, you're prepared, and
Yeah,
it makes
that's
it a lot
fantastic.
easier.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fantastic.
Also, something that I work a lot on this pillar is empathy, because what happens is when you move and you're tired, and again you have to manage your energy, you are feeling very depleted, drained, and you have no patience, and you have that one person there who's usually your partner, because you don't have friends, you don't have anyone to vent with, you don't have family to help you, to support you. So you really get, it really gets tense, the your relationship. It's very common to go through like a tense period when you move, because of everything that you're going through, all everything that's new, the pressure at work for one of them. Many times the one that's working doesn't understand why the other partner says they don't have time and they're tired, because they're not working. Why don't they have time, and why are they tired? They have the whole day free. um, and so this whole empathy thing of putting yourself on the other one's shoe, and understanding what it means to have been transferred through work, to be, even though you might be in the same company, but to be in a new team, to maybe be working in a different language, to be working with a very different culture, to be, feeling dependent on the company, because the company pays for your house, the company pays for your kids' school, the company pays for your health insurance. If you lose your job, it's not just like in your country that you just go find another job. No, no, no. You have to move back. You have to change houses again. You have to
Mm-hmm.
change schools. You have to.
Yeah.
So the pressure on the executive is very heavy. And the pressure on the partner who's left behind their whole lives to go with that executive is also very high. It's a different pressure. It's very emotional. You go from maybe working in an office to working on your home and with your family, and as much as you might have wished for this, like sometimes to enjoy the family, it's not easy work. It's a lot of
Yeah, because it
physical
can be
work.
it can be very lonely. That's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes, and usually for the executive they go from one office to the other, so their routine
Yeah.
doesn't change so
Doesn't change
much.
that much.
One that has to, start from scratch, go find a specialist doctor for whatever, and understand like how the pharmacy works, and
Yeah.
the little day-to-day things that you have to really start from scratch. So and having a strong relationship between both is extremely important for the success
Yeah.
of this experience abroad.
Very interesting. The best about this is that you can, by this way, absolutely prepare them for everything.
Yes. Yes, that's the idea. That's
They are going to be
because
guided
they
in this
will. Yes.
process. They will, of course,
They will. Yeah.
when you are prepared for a shock, it's a little bit
Mhm.
different because you can
Yes.
think about it. What will I do? What can
Yeah.
we do together? Because
Yes.
this usually happens.
Mhm.
Many
Mhm.
people don't know what will
Mhm.
happen, what could
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
They just go,
And
yeah, everything will be fine. We do
yes.
it. And
Yes.
then, surprise, surprise.
Exactly. And it's not the type of thing that you will realize quick that it's happening. It's the kind of thing that, like, you will begin fighting, you will begin distancing
Exactly.
yourself, and you will begin like, okay, I moved here because of you. Like,
Yeah.
why you're not helping me? And then the other one is like, okay, I'm the only one working. Why are you complaining that you don't have time? And you don't realize it just
Yeah.
happens, and
Yeah.
it's day by day, and then all of a sudden your marriage is, like,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait to get to that.
Yeah. You can
And if you
prepare. Yeah.
exactly
That's
have
wonderful.
awareness, you can really work it out. It's very, very common that people divorce when they move abroad. Why? Because of this.
Yeah.
But people don't talk about it.
Yeah. No one talks about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Yes, yes. And then moving on to the next pillar is wellness. And here we talk about physical, mental, and emotional, and very aligned with the energy management. So the physical is really taking care of your body. when you
Mm-hmm.
move abroad. And here we talk really about your eating habits, that they change when you move abroad. You might not find the same products that you were
Yeah.
used to at your home. And it's very common that you look for comfort food, so that, like, the
Mm-hmm.
chocolate, those
Mm-hmm.
things that make you feel
You
like,
want to
oh,
try all those
yes.
addictive, good
Yes.
things because they are
Yes.
also new. You want to try everything.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And you also want to, like those things that, oh, I deserve this. I
Mm-hmm.
deserve, to have this junk food because I've worked so hard. It's really tough for me. Like, I
Yeah.
need this. I need to feel, like, hugged by the food.
Yeah, like
So
emotional
it's,
eating.
yes, yes,
Mm.
exactly. So taking care of your health is very important. And most of the time, you don't have time to cook because you're so busy with everything. So making time to have healthy food at home or cook healthy food at home is important. Um, the second subject is exercising. This is very important to renew your energy and really to keep yourself, to keep your body moving and going and happy. So including exercise in your routine is important. And then the third one is sleep, because especially when we move, we're too busy to rest, and we think that we need to get everything done. So we go to sleep late and we don't really pay attention to our sleep. And then when we realize, we're extremely drained, we're extremely tired, and this impacts our decision making,
Mm.
impacts our relationships, impacts our energy to go out and meet other people. So here, what I work a lot with families. This kind of goes into the family pillar also. All the pillars obviously are interrelated because we're one person. But what I work a lot here on the wellness, partnered with the family, is on building an effective routine. So
Mm-hmm.
how can you put into your routine, like, include exercise, include like a good like a time for like sleep, or to cook, or have like a healthy eating habits. So this is also something that I work with families, which is building an effective routine, so that they have like a um, time for everything that they need.
Yeah.
And here also, self-care is very important. This is a big subject, which is taking time for yourself. The other day, I did a talk in a school when we were talking about what challenges we thought we would face when moving. And it was like, everyone said that they were worried about their kids, and then
Mm-hmm.
their kids were fine. They went fine through adaptation, and then they realized that they had their own challenges. And
Yeah.
this is very common when we move, especially with families. We're worried about the others and we don't look at ourselves. But our kids, our family, they need us to be well, to
Yeah.
support them.
Yeah.
So here, like from the beginning, I always say, take some time to yourself. Do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever recharges you. Whether if it's writing, I don't know, getting a massage, practicing yoga, mindfulness, whatever it is, watching a movie, eating chocolate, whatever it is that like makes you take care of yourself. This is very important. Go for a coffee with someone new. So this is something that we touch upon in the wellness pillar. And then moving on to the next one, the social, which is about the connections that you make, about growing roots in the new country and feeling like you really belong there. This is a subject that's also very, very interesting, because especially when we move, we think we don't have time to meet people. We don't know how to meet people. We don't know where to meet people. We many times feel uncomfortable. We think that maybe it's because we don't speak the language, or we think that, I don't know, people are too different from us. It's extremely important to put some time aside for this to happen. I have like a weekly planner, and I have like a social, like I have like all my goals, and I have a social goal. I go X amount of times out for coffee or for lunch, dinner, whatever,
That's
during
interesting. You
during
put
the
it into
week.
your calendar.
Yes, yes,
We think very often that we don't have time. We have it, we just have to create it.
exactly. If
Hmm.
you put it in your calendar, you will make it happen.
Yeah.
And what I always say, don't wait to be invited.
Mm-hmm.
Invite people. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay, especially for expats. They're very open-minded, and they really like enjoy meeting new people. So
Yeah.
they'll be happy to be invited to go for a coffee with you. So
Yeah.
the social is extremely important, because that's really how you're going to feel like you belong in that city. Just mentioning back the partner pillar, because I mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
I have set aside some time to go out with people and socialize and with friends and whatever. Also set some time aside for you to spend with your partner,
Yeah.
because again, oh, we don't have time, we have kids, what are we going to do? So this is very common when a family moves. They say, oh no, we don't have a nanny yet, we'll look for one later. I'm like, no, 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 it's important from the beginning that you set some time aside to spend with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for dinner, you go for whatever, but you need to go out, just the two of you. This is important for your relationship,
Yeah,
and
of
people
course.
fail to understand this. So what we do is, I have time that I go out with just my husband, I have time that I go out with my husband and other friends, and I have time that I go out just with my friends. We have a lot of girls lunches, dinners, or whatever.
Yeah.
So this social part and connection is very important also for expats. And then the growth pillar. Here we talk about personal and professional goal. We, as I mentioned many times, we when we move, we're not working, and that doesn't mean that we don't have to grow. And when we move, we grow. Even if we don't want to grow, we grow personally. We develop a bunch of new skills. And so here it really depends on the family that I'm working with. But many times, especially for corporate programs, I work with executive on their move. So on their first 90 days, we build a plan together. We understand what the challenges will be for that move within the company. And for the spouse, I also work on a growth plan related to their ambition for that during that move. So many spouses decide that the first months they're not going to focus on a professional growth, but later on, after their family is adapted and established, they decide that they will continue their career. And it's very common that they go through a career transition, especially after they realize how much they have grown already,
Mm-hmm.
with all the skills they have, the new skills that they have developed. But here, it's really about the purpose for your growth. Like, what do you want to accomplish? What is it that you want out of this experience? How do you want to grow? Some people decide that they just want to focus on learning the new languages, learning about the new culture, doing voluntary work, or whatever it is, but it's how they
Yeah.
feel that they're growing.
Does it happen that when you introduce this program, all these points, that someone would say, "Okay, no, this is too much. So maybe I will change my mind and I'm not going to move." Does it happen?
It has never happened,
Mm-hmm.
um, because what I work on is really building awareness and preparing the family. But what I focus is on the positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as like it seems like it's too much,
Overwhelming. It can seem.
it is, but it is,
Mm-hmm.
it is. But when you have awareness on all of this, and you learn how to work this out, so you manage so that it's in the end it's positive, then it's really like, okay, I want this. It's more of like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to go through this. It's a challenge, but it's worth it.
Okay.
And in what I say is, in any decision that you make in life, any choice, you have trade-offs,
Mm-hmm.
you know and but it's true that I believe that, first, international moves, it's not for every family. It depends really on your profile. And it's very important for you to have a clear goal of why you're moving, because there are many moves that don't
Yeah.
make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just going because of going, it's not enough for you to sustain and to have a successful move in the long term. But
Yeah,
it's
sure.
really, when I work with families, we really focus like on being positive. and what can you get out of this, and how is this going to positively impact you and your family,
Yeah, this
because you
is
can
wonderful.
always see the positive side. And this is the beauty of it, because when you have a guide, they can take you out and be like, no, 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 look at everything. When you don't have support, you go down by yourself.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
it's a family that wasn't sure about moving, chances that they're going to fail are very high.
yeah.
If they have the support that will help them understand what this means, it's a lot the chances of them succeeding is a lot higher.
Yes, this is actually wonderful. So I think
Because
this is like changing the future of moving families abroad.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Because when you have the understanding of the full picture, when you learn how to take care of yourself, take care of your relationships, enjoy the ride,
yeah,
it becomes a lot smoother.
yeah. Of
And
course, you
that's the
can't
whole
control
idea
everything, but
behind it.
you can be prepared. Like being prepared for the exam, you never know. You can't be sure that you will pass the exam, but you can
Hmm.
prepare
You will
at
feel a lot
least.
more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the final pillar is leisure, which is enjoying and connecting with the new city. And this again, it's not just about the the day to day, all the work, all the tasks, but it's really taking the time to enjoy. You're living
Yeah.
in a different country, different people. Just take the opportunity to, for like to go on adventures, like to try things for the first time, try new food, just really travel. And this is where we go back to the finance side. When you're doing your financial planning for your move, really allocate budget to leisure time, to either go back home to visit your family, which is very important,
Mm-hmm.
but also like what trips can you do, or what activities, what events, what are those things that you can do that will really make that experience worth it, fun. Because if you just move from one place to another and you don't enjoy the city, you don't enjoy the place, why you're living there.
Yeah, it's like with everything. Like you have to enjoy life. Otherwise you
Exactly,
don't like it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So these are the 8 pillars, which I call the roots, that I work through in my programs. And as I mentioned, the idea is to create awareness, prepare the family so that they can really reach balance between these pillars, so that they can have a positive and fulfilling life abroad.
Oh, that's great. So, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me at interroots by tachipaez.com. That's my website. And I'm also on LinkedIn. And on Instagram, I'm interroots by Tati Paez.
Okay, I
And
will put all the information, yeah,
thank
about the
you.
video.
And this is the secret to expat success: the preparation, the organization, especially mentally, and when possible, guidance that can be very, very helpful to
Yeah,
reaching your expat goals.
yeah. Thank you very much for sharing all this information and your insights. I hope
Thank you.
everyone enjoyed this conversation and you found this useful. And please hit the subscribe button or share, and you can support us by this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Bye.
Bye.